Howdy folks, it is good to have you. So you're wondering, how long does it take to rewire my brain, to reboot, to detox my brain off of this porn thing and actually quit it for good and recover my brain power and my health? Well, there are a ton of videos out there that are claiming these incredible benefits of doing this NoFap thing. And after 90 days, after 365 days, you're gonna have superhuman strength and whatnot. But they don't talk about what's happening in the brain, how to rewire your brain, and actually how long it takes according to brain science. And that is what this video is all about. So the first thing we have to address is your level of addiction on the addiction scale. So obviously this depends on how long you've been watching porn, how addicted to porn you are. This is a question a lot of people have is, am I an addict or is it just a bad habit? Well, guess what guys, newsflash. You have an addiction. Porn is addictive and therefore it is an addiction. I don't like calling people addicts because it puts a label on people, but you are addicted to porn by nature of porn being addictive as hell if you haven't noticed. And if you find yourself, you're unable to get off of it and you keep going back to it, that old bad friend, that crutch that you lean on when you're experiencing stresses and difficulties in your life, we know the drill, right? So by nature of it being addictive, yeah, it's an addiction. The question is not, am I addicted? The question is, how addicted to porn am I? And that's what the addiction scale is. It's a spectrum of addiction that I use a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being very tame, very mild, usually early on in their addiction journey, and 9, 10 being a very extreme addiction. So your addiction level is really self-assessed based on these parameters. 1, 2 is basically someone who uses porn once in a while. It's not really about how often you use porn, but it's really why you use porn and importantly, how you feel after you act out. Usually people on the 1, 2 are early on in their addiction, like teenagers. If you can recall the first time that you watched porn, the reason you used it was because you're triggered by something. You saw some content online. Your feeling was really kind of disgusted, disturbed, like curious, like what is this? And then afterwards, if you can recall, probably your feeling was really like, oh my gosh, like what did I just do? I just committed a grave sin, really filled with guilt. And as you climb the addiction scale and you reach the 8, 9, 10 end of the spectrum, that guilt and that shame associated with masturbating to porn goes away over time, and the intensity of the stuff that you're watching increases as well. What's really telling and addictive of someone that's on the 8, 9, 10 end of the spectrum, the extreme end, is that you use porn as a habit on a routine basis. And if you don't use porn, then you start to experience those withdrawal symptoms like being agitated, like being angry, frustrated, you can't sleep. Usually people on the end of this, at the extreme end of the spectrum, they can't even sleep at night if they don't watch porn. They have to do it every morning or every night, and there's a routine. And if you don't, you start to get agitated because you're missing that element in your life that you always leaned on and went back to escape life and to use as escaping mechanism. So the reason I'm sharing the addiction scale is because how long it takes your brain to rewire and to detox away from porn depends on how addicted you are. However, for the vast majority of people, especially the men I work with, most people are kind of in the middle. Most people are not at the extreme end of things where they can't even go a day or a few days without watching porn. And not many people are on the tame end, but people are on like the 5, 6, 7 range. And these people usually use porn as a way to kind of escape difficult emotions and usually battle this habit usually once a week or every month. And if you're of the majority of people and you're somewhere in the middle, then it really takes 28 days. So why 28 days to rewire your brain? This is not some arbitrary number that I made up. This is where the brain science trickery comes in. But I'm not going to bore you with brain science facts. Stick with me on this. This is really cool. So when you watch porn, when you see content and you anticipate the act of watching porn, when you see triggery content, even through Instagram or on Facebook or YouTube or anywhere, you're experiencing what is called a dopamine rush, a dopamine hit. It's basically a chemical that is telling your brain that this act of watching porn is for some reason and somehow it's important to your survival. It's in some way going to lead to sexual satisfaction and procreation, right? That's what porn is tricking your brain to thinking. Obviously we know that watching porn and masturbating has nothing to do with real survival. It's nothing to do with genuine sexuality and connection. And it's just literally pixels on the screen. So we've essentially tricked our minds through many years or even decades in some of your cases to believing that porn is somehow essential to you. And any time that you watch porn or see triggery content or anticipate that climax, you're believing that this is really important for you. The important thing here, guys, is when you do experience those rushes, there is a protein in your brain called delta phos B. stick with me for just a second. Delta phosphate is a protein and the protein's only job is to keep you going back to the original source of that dopamine rush. So in this case, it's keeping you going back to that porn. And that's why you experience those urges and those triggers, is because this protein is trying to get you back to that because it thinks that you need porn in order to survive, right? The important thing about delta phosphate, and the cool thing, is that after you quit porn, go cold turkey and stop doing it, that protein, delta phosphate, increases in strength and it keeps escalating for about 1 week. This is what the studies have shown. For 1 week, that delta phosphate protein increases and the urges get strong. This is why after you quit, the first week will probably be the hardest for you in terms of wanting to go back to your old friend porn. And then that protein levels off and stays up here for about 3 weeks after that. 3 weeks. So 4 weeks total. 1 week of increasing and 3 weeks total of leveling off. And then get this, it starts to die off after this. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. This is why most people are unable to experience the benefits of NoFap, the benefits of quitting porn, is because people are unable to get past this 28-day period. If you guys are in the majority of people who don't have a severe addiction, if you have a 7 or less on the addiction scale, you can rewire your brain in as little as 28 days. If you just go cold turkey and not just bite your tongue and grind your way through it. What I'm talking about on this channel, I'm encouraging you guys to do, spend this 28 days intensely focused on your life and improving yourself and finding passionate projects that you can work on, doing the things that make you come alive, and stop biting your tongue and stop counting the days of NoFap until your next slip up. You've got to sprint for your life and make this the most incredible, intense, fearsome 28 days of your life that you can just look back at and just be really proud of yourself. I'm here to help you guys. That's what this whole channel is about. So that's why, according to brain science and evolution, doing a 28-day challenge for you and abstaining from porn is really important for your brain to rewire and detox. And that's as little as it takes. All right, moving on to step number 3, 90 days. What do you experience after doing 90 days of this NoFap thing? Before we move on, I want you guys to hit the like button, or encourage you to smash the like button, because it does. Apparently it helps the video spread around. That's what I've heard. Anyways, we can test it out and see if it works, right? I drew a little icon for you guys because I'm getting better at drawing little like buttons. And also it's just a reminder for myself to ask you guys to do that. Anyways, moving on. What are the real benefits of this quitting porn thing? There are so many videos right now about all the stuff that you'll get from doing a certain number of NoFap. And if you don't meet that number, that metric, then you have failed and you will not experience attracting women and lifting your gram with your pinky, any of that. No. All right. So the real benefits across the board that we've seen for men that I work with, and also for myself personally, 3 things: increase in focus, increase in confidence. All right, let's do that again. The 3 benefits of NoFap: increase in focus, increase in confidence, and increase in drive. After about 90 days of doing this NoFap thing, this is when the real benefits of it really start to kick in, and you'll start to experience those things. Why? Because you'll have extra confidence, drive, focus, energy, time to focus on other things. Guys, think about how much porn is taking away from your life, how much your time, energy, focus is consumed by you watching porn and jerking off, right? So if you have that excess amount of insane drive, there is literally nothing you can't do. And when you get that confidence and you realize that if you can beat porn, you can do anything. Like, this is probably the hardest thing you guys have ever done in your life. I know you. You're a high achiever. You want to do things with your life. But this is harder than anything else you've done. And when you get control of it, you'll have that confidence and drive that's necessary to do anything else that you'd like to do in your life. So the big question now is, how do we actually do this? Guys, I'm not going to just talk about brain stuff and leave you without the how-to. That's what this video is all about. I think you're really going to appreciate the how to actually get your brain to a place where urges for porn just aren't a thing anymore. It's good to have you guys. Go ahead and subscribe to this channel if you really want to be part of this community and keep your motivation at a high level. It's good to have you all. Take care.